I'd like to welcome each and every one to McCormick County Council meeting on this August 20, 2024. We'll call this meeting to order. We ask for information be our Vice Chairman, Bernard Hammy. Then we ask to the prayer. We'll have a prayer of the leading to the United States flag.
You may bow with me. Dear Father, we gather here this afternoon again to tend the business of this great county in which we live. We always pray that all the decisions which are made here are for the betterment of all the people of this county, dear Father. We just continue to pray for peace and prosperity, not only in our county, but in our country, dear Father, as elections time is coming. There's a lot of negativity going around, not only here, but throughout our country. So, that, Father, we pray for peace and that in this process, and that whoever takes the lead will be chosen by you and guided by you. That, Father, we love this county, and we thank you for each and every person that's come out to be a part of this meeting and this process. Public input is so important in governing, dear Father. We don't take that lightly. Dear Father, one thing on my heart I pray is that we are so quick to pick out the things and discuss the things that are not, that perceived by us not to be right, but help us to focus on the things that are being done right and for the betterment of these people. That, Father, we want to lift up a family, the passing of Mr. Rogers, who was at one time an employee of McCormick County and from Plum Branch. As that family grieves the loss of their loved one, please be with them and comfort them during this grieving process. We also know that sickness and COVID and stuff is kind of raging again. We want to lift up two of our own, Mr. Banks and Miss Banks, have tested positive for COVID, so be with them as they recover from this disease. That, Father, again, we just love you and thank you and pour out your blessings upon us. In the precious name of Christ, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A roll call coming from our clerk to the council. Ms. Bond.
Charles Jennings.
Present.
Bernard Hamby.
Present.
Henry Banks. Charles Cook.
Present.
Jackie Brown.
Present.
G.P. Callison.
Present.
Columbus Stevens.
Present.
Thank you, and we do have a quorum. At the time we have approval of the minutes. These minutes are July the 16th and August the 6th of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor, nobody. Right hand. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, a comment, our smoke thing out front is on fire. We need to check it, please, somebody. That's a lot of smoke for a smoke container.
Thank you.
All right, please. I don't want it flaming up out there. It's kind of bad.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can't blame me tonight.
Okay.
Mr. Cook, yeah, that's your fault. You're the last one to use it.
Speaker, Mr. Jason Brown, he is director.
First, we'd like to thank the council for letting us come over here and give a department update, public meeting forum. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Better, thank you.
All right. So first, we'd like to thank the council for giving us the opportunity to come over here and give a department update on McCormick County Emergency Services in the public open forum. First page If you see, that's our current full-time staff that we have on 3 different shifts, A shift, B shift, and C shift. It's made up of 6 positions per shift. We're allotted 18 full-time positions to make up the ambulance crews at McCormick County Emergency Services. Currently, we have 4 full-time paramedics, leaving 2 full-time paramedics positions open. We have 9 EMT basics or advanced full-times, leaving 3 full-time positions open currently, totaling 5 positions open. So 2 EMT paramedics and 3 EMT basics or advanced. We have interviewed to hire for our second paramedic full-time supervisor for B shift, and we're currently waiting the decision of that individual if he's going to accept the job or not. Part-time staff, it consists of 7 EMT paramedics, 5 EMT basics or advanced, and 11 full-time firefighter ones, that is full-time and part-time combined. Vehicles, currently all of them's in service except for Unit 1. It's up at Custom Works. Had some chastity issues. That's a warranty fix, so they're taking care of that. Won't be any cost to the county at all. Station 3, that's located at 107 Old School Road, is being manned as much as possible. In the last 50 days, we've had the station open a total of 5 times. That's not good. We have really been trying hard to recruit. We have recruited in the past few weeks, we recruited several people. So that's going to help us man that station and get it open. Within 2.5 to 3 weeks, we look at having Station 3 running 90% of the time. McCormick County Emergency Services license levels through South Carolina Department of DEC. Since September the 15th of 2022, McCormick County Emergency Services has been licensed as an advanced life support service. Our service application is set to expire September the 30th of 2024. Our service application will be submitted by the end of this week. Our McCormick County Emergency Services continuing program through the Department of Public Health. It was issued to McCormick County Emergency Services May the 6th, 2024, and remains active as a paramedic continuing education program, and is set to renew September the 30th, 2028. So we're still good on that license for quite some time. We just had a Firefighter 1 instructor methodology class. It was held over here at McCormick County Emergency Services in the EOC room. It was the 12th through the 16th. We've had 7 full-time employees that went through that class, and to my knowledge, I believe 5 of them have passed that we know of so far. It required an IFSAC exam at the end of the class to get into a PowerPoint presentation. That's going to help us in our continuing education program and our training program to where we can start teaching firefighter 1s and EMT basics here in McCormick County. Our emergency services application for controlled substance is through the Department of Public Bureau and Drug Control. It expires October the 10th, 2024. Renewal application is completed and will be mailed off by the end of this week. McCormick County Emergency Services non-dispense medication license was applied back for in June the 1st of 2024 and received June the 30th, 2024. Good for a year. Expiration date of June the 30th, 2025. It's never set to expire. The South Tower, we noticed that it's starting to have a little bit of a water leak down there. We've kind of fixed the situation thus far. The leak's going to get worse as time goes on. We're looking at 2 different possibilities. One is fixing the whole entire roof, or maybe building a little building outside of the building that's currently in, to be able to house our repeater equipment to keep it dry. Our LNPG grant was closed out August 19th, 2024. We should be receiving rewards of $53,307 very soon. Our supplemental grant was closed out on August 19th, 2024, and we should be receiving $14,000 in funds. Our LNPG 2024 grant has already been applied for. We have it. We're just waiting on the award letter. been awarded $49,001. The supplemental grant is to be determined. That's how much funds they have left over out of that grant. Y'all have any questions?
Where's the South Tower? Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Where's the South Tower located?
It's located off of Luke's Ferry Road down in Clarks Hill. And I believe it's under the property owners of American Tower Company.
Mr. Chair, I would just question our new substation. With you having problems manning it, how much effort have we put into reaching out for volunteers to staff that on a part-time basis?
We've put in a good bit of time by word of mouth, social media, and South Carolina EMS associations. And just to recap, if you go back about 6 months ago, we had 11 full-time employees, and that's when they were supposed to have 18. That's over a whole shift now. Trying to keep 2 trucks running has been tough. Running 3 has been very hard. We was like 7 people short. Now with the most recent hires, they had to put their 2 weeks notice in. Then we've got to go through 3 ride times, get them trained on our equipment. Like I say, I'm hoping within the next 3 weeks that Medic 3 is running 90% of the time. And with our part-time people being able to come in and work some part-time, hopefully it'll be 100% of the time.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Brown, we just like to thank you for this update. We just appreciate the job that y'all doing it, maintaining, and I know it's a problem all over the United States, finding manpower.
Yes, sir, it's tough. We're gonna get there. We're gonna accomplish it. Thank you for your time.
Public comments?
John Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and council members. Mr. Chairman, your comment on how difficult it is to find manpower, we've experienced that too at the newspaper. And we're very pleased tonight to introduce Mr. James Hilton, who has joined us for the McCormick Messenger to be our reporter for Carolina. James is a former reporter and feature writer for the West County News in Greenfield, Massachusetts. And we're very fortunate to have an experienced journalist on hand, and he started immediately. I will remain here in McCormick full-time in the office, but a little more time devoted to office duties now that Jim is able to do the reporting. And a little sidebar personal on him from the presentation we just had. He's a certified paramedic in his semi-retirement and works a couple of shifts a week for Clark and Wilkes County, Georgia. All right. In addition to reporting for us. So we're very pleased to have him join the messenger staff, and I just wanted to introduce him to everybody at one time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to McCormick, sir.
Welcome to McCormick again, they say.
Don't let him get away.
If you're looking for some extra work, let's see Mr. Brown. Okay, anyone?
Jimmy Collier.
Mr. Collier.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Most of y'all know who I am, but for those of you who do, I'm Jimmy Collier. I'm a lifetime resident of the town of Plum Branch in McCormick County. The subject I'm wishing to speak on tonight is McCormick County water and sewer, and it has, for my concern, has had a long history of failure. Last Friday, August the 16th, saw water on Collier Street was cut off for repairs to a 2-inch water line next to the Saddle Club and a rock cut that has always been leaking for many years. There's a transition valve that goes from 6 to 2 inches at the end of the fire hydrant across from Mr. Wells's house. It was not used. The whole water line was cut off out there on 221-28. That valve was used and not one was not. That left all the water on that side of Plum Branch, a third of the town of Plum Branch, without water, which was unnecessary, very unnecessary. This continues to happen all the time. And I asked it, why do we continue to have to revisit this situation? When I got there were 6 or 8 men from the county there, this could have been wasted manpower as I'm concerned. They were told to cut the water off by the administrative staff, to cut it off at 221 and Collier Street. And they did not know where the transition valve was and did not know how to drain, and they were supposed to drain the fire hydrant. Where was Clearwater's supervisor? I don't know. I was told Clearwater was here to supervise and educate the people to use less manpower and equipment. The personnel at this scene were not at fault. They were doing as instructed. Where was Clearwater? Asked again, why did we see the use of a small dump truck and not the dump trailer that they were using? I was told that no one had CDL license and that McCormick County's equipment would not pass CDL test. I don't know. I was told Clearwater was to see that the personnel were schooled and were to be able to pass CDL. No school. Why are we spending $1 million when we have no improvements? This leak should have been repaired with 2 men, 1 piece of digging equipment. Should have been used heavier pipe and bedded in sand. Why do we have to continue to revisit these leaks? I'm saying lack of knowledge, and where is Clearwater supervision? Why were our personnel not schooled in the proper way to repair leaks and where the valves and to work safely? Where was Clearwater supervision? We do not need Clearwater or any other contractor for that matter. The water and sewer should be turned over to the public, and 1 person from each district in this county be elected to a water department, and let them manage and hire a contractor or whatever we need. If we're not to get a handle on this, we'll no longer be able to pay the water and sewer rates if it continues to go as it is now. Please, and I ask please, no more wasteful spending. Clearwater needs to go, and council needs to listen to the people. At this time, I feel that it appears the council does not want to do the right thing. Now, please do hope that you will not do that.
Thank you.
Laura Cromer.
Good evening, Councilman Jennings, council members. Paul, we had our first ever Humane Society Spay and Neuter Expo event today, and I'm pleased to report that 40 animals in McCormick County were altered today. 1 from Batesburg, which is Lexington, 2 out of Columbia County traveled to McCormick County today to have their animals altered. We had 24 animals out of McCormick County that were altered today. 1 from Greenwood, 16 that were not in McCormick County that traveled to us today. Our vaccine clinic, 42 animals were vaccinated today. All told, we saw 82 animals. We will do this with the help of the sheriff's office. Next month, they're looking for areas for us to go, and Pets Inc. will be on rotation through the end of the year on a static date. We're looking to go up county next month and Modoc Parkville in October, and we don't have an area for November yet. But with these kind of numbers, it's amazing what we did today. So I apologize for my attire and all that. So. Humane Society sponsored $2,589 to the community to get their animals taken care of. This was a huge event for the community, and we are very proud of what we did today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
No one else.
Okay, thank you. Decision item. Item number 1 is ordinance 24-06, an ordinance amending chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinance of McCormick County animal regarding animal ownership responsibilities, including providing sufficient food and water, proper shelter, and veterinary care when needed, imposing restriction concerning the of animal provided for the humane care and treatment of animal, prevent suffering and related to matter. Council, this is second reading. Mr. Callen, do you have any explanation why?
No, this ordinance was presented by, not the Humane Society, but was it the Humane Society? And the language that is contained in that ordinance is exactly as presented. I think council might want to look at a couple of things that I had some questions about. Tethering is a big focus of this particular act. And I think maybe a definition of tethering might be appropriate, which could be done on third reading. Also, I was looking at, states throughout the United States have tethering laws. So they're variety. I was looking at one from California, which was rather a liberal law, but it stated that you could temporarily tether an animal if you're completing a temporary task. For example, I've got 2 dogs myself, and mine run loose with me. But if I had a dog that I would needed to do some work in my garden, that I should be able to, have the appropriate chain and have them put up until I completed my task. But not, I think the focus really is on, and I've seen them. I'm telling you, driving around the country, you'll see dogs on a chain that never get off of it. I mean, they're there all the time. I've got one in particular that just pops in my mind every time I ride by. I have to stop and want to get out. But that's the only thing I would say is maybe tighten up a definition of tethering so that you could have temporary, and I'm talking 2 hours or less, for that type of thing. But I think the focus of addressing the tethering issue is important. I think that's an important focus, and it's not addressed. But this is the language provided by the Humane.
Looking at
Yes.
change. Understood.
It's ready for second reading. I think that I could look at it and maybe send out an email to all of the council members, just with a couple of points about a definition and that kind of thing, and that would be it. I believe the sheriff's department has also looked at this particular ordinance. That's the chairman's control of that.
You have to ask him. She's wanting to speak.
Right, that's what I understood. I understood that, which is important because they're the ones enforcing it. That's true. That's very good. And like I say, not major changes or revisions, but maybe a definition, tightening up some of that. And I'd certainly be glad to circulate that to council members, and you can get a copy of that if you want to do that for third reading.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, excuse me, Mr. Cook, I'm sorry. My comment too would be that our attorney present that to us prior so that we could review it before a public hearing.
Correct.
And so that when we do meet before the third reading, we would be well informed on what we should or shouldn't do to make this a very fair law. No further comments.
Thank you. Councilman Cook.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I would echo that comment and request and ask that we make those changes so that a copy of the proposed ordinance can be posted online for the website so the public can go in and review it prior to the public hearing.
That's what I was saying.
I also picked up a brief review. I have a question that maybe could be addressed, and that is on. I'm not exactly sure which section. It's section 1A, dogs running at large. But there's On page 2, there's a provision with respect to shelter, which says that proper shelter is an outdoor house-like structure appropriate for the size and number of animals, et cetera. My only concern with that, and I don't have a problem with that, is that a lot of people do not keep their pets outside. If you've got small dogs, most of the time they're sheltered in-house. So my concern is, and somebody needs to look at this, I don't see any provisions in here for house pets. It's all sheltering outside and requirements that if you have a dog, you must have an outdoor shelter, even if the dog is not kept outside, because there are no other provisions. So that needs to be looked at and clarified, just to make sure that we're not fining or citing people who do not keep their pets outside for not having an outdoor shelter.
I think that can be addressed also, because I can tell you, my dogs are in the house, on the couch right now.
Yes, I understand.
Under the air conditioning.
I understand.
So that's good, but I think the intent was that these outdoor
For
shelters
outdoor
is what
animals.
we're talking about. And like I say, I can think of one in particular, which is an outdoor shelter, but those things, when they're in the sun, you know, they don't provide shade, and maybe shade, but they don't provide protection from the heat. I mean, they actually generate heat, and get hotter than what you would have running out. But I'll take a look, that's a good point, Mr. Cook, in-house.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor? Nobody, right? Item number 2. Resolution 01-24. A resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute an option agreement to purchase property from Parlor Land Company next to the airport, and authorizing the county administrator to exercise the option to purchase the property described in the option agreement. Council district consider passing the resolution. Mr. Turner, I'm not Mr. Turner, I'm sorry, Mr. Warner. We have a map, but it's consider the deed, explain this a little bit more in detail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, you have in your packet a plat that was prepared for this purchase. It's 3 parcels. They're all on the east side of the airport, totaling 3.77 acres. What this property is being purchased for is to allow for the proper construction of the slope from the grading project on that side of the runway, so we have enough room to maintain a 4-to-1 slope to complete that. And we have, this option agreement has been reviewed by Mr. Pollard and myself and his counsel and our counsel. Has gone back and forth a couple of times, and I think we're all comfortable with this as it's drawn. Time sensitivity of it is before we can begin executing the grading project, it all needs to be done on publicly owned property. So that's what this brings, this property into public ownership.
Thank you.
Be glad to answer any other questions.
Councilman Cook.
Do we want to make a motion to adopt this before,
Yes.
before questions?
Okay. Can I call for a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Call for this discussion.
I only have 2 quick questions. One is, I know the purchase price of 13,195 is reasonable. Do you have any estimate of the additional costs that are going to be required in terms of title clearance, closing fees, DHEC approval, or whatever?
This will not require, DHEC approval will come with the overall grading plan. It'll be included in that. Mr. Callison will handle all the closing. So
As a part of this agreement, as a part of the negotiated price for this agreement, the landowner will not be incurring any cost. And so from the county standpoint, I know that I will have, if this is approved, I will have an abstractor check the title, and I would imagine that's going to be in the $200–250 range. I think attorney fees and that, you're talking less than $1,000, more likely around $500 to $750.
Okay, all right.
It's not going to be an expensive legal cost on this because it's pretty straightforward. Mr. Pollard's also assured us that he has a good title, but of course we're going to check to make sure. But I think everything's in order on this.
I see that if there are any liens against the property, the seller.
They would have to be satisfied.
That is correct.
Absolutely.
The
That was a point we negotiated to make sure that it was clear that all liens and encumbrances had to be satisfied to them.
The only other question I have is, do we have what source of the funds are we taking this out of? Is that grant money or is that our money?
it'll come out of the Economic Development Fund.
Okay.
We already have funding on that, no budget amendment is necessary.
Anyone else? Not all in favor? No, bad right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Item number 3, Resolution 02-24. Resolution adopting Freedom of Information Act, party for responding to FOLA requests and establishing a fee schedule for FOLA responses. Council to consider passing the resolution 02-24.
Mr. Chairman, I was working on that. We do not have that FOIA policy completed. I wanted to get with the administrator on that, but I've looked at numerous different policies. What this is we receive a lot of FOIA requests. In fact, got one today from the Sheriff's Department. But we need a policy about how to handle that. And if the county is going to need to charge for the release of information to find it and do that, there's certain charges that can be made. We need to have a policy on that. For example, like 25 cents a page, or typically what happens is you charge the lowest hourly rate for the person that can get that information. That's typically done on the state level and on county level. It's important because we need to post that on the website and make sure it's clear. Now, that doesn't mean that the county charges fees for everything every time, because many times things are provided in an electronic format and there is no copy cost. There are no charges. But we need a policy. We need a policy so that county personnel know how to respond to and how to direct, and so that the public knows how and to whom a request is to be sent. Because that information would be on the website. That was the goal. So I'll have that for you next meeting.
Next meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Councilman.
I make a motion to defer this resolution until council has had the opportunity to review the proposed resolution and has had the opportunity to make any comments or recommendations.
Yes, sir.
I second it, Mr. Chair.
The motion second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor? Motion. Thank you. Item number 4. Council to consider authorizing the county administrator and the director of economic and community development to negotiate and execute a contract with Tom and Hutton for the countywide drainage study funded by South Carolina Rural Infrastructure and Storage, RIA. Get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
The motion second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Cook.
just a couple of questions. In the project plan and the definition that was submitted to the Rural Infrastructure Authority for the grant money that they will provide for this, I didn't notice any provisions for input from stakeholders. And I think that's very important. Rather than just hiring a contractor to go out and do this study, I think we need to have some input from the individuals, whether they're organizations, developments, or whatever, that are principally impacted by this. And I know that, for example, at Savannah Lakes Village, we've had significant problems in some cases with the water that is in the county right-of-way, and we use those drainage ditches along the right-of-way to drain the water away in a lot of areas in the county, not just SLV. But in some cases where we have those drainage ditches in the right-of-way, that water drains into pipes that go under the road. And instead of going to other drainage ditches or going into the lake or going into other secure areas, that water that is being collected in the county's draining ditches is going on to private property, flooding out yards, doing damage to houses, gardens, properties, and a number of other considerations. Now, some of that may be the responsibility of the property owner. Some of that may be the responsibility of the developer or the property owners association. But some of that may be the responsibility of the county. So I think we need stakeholders to be involved in that process when they are doing the review to determine what kind of things need to be done in order to mitigate the problem, whether it's additional public infrastructure or whether it's action on the part of the individual property owner or the developer in a particular area. I think we need to have that kind of input before we can do an effective job of implementing this contract.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I would just comment, I agree with Mr. Cook to a certain extent. To me, we've known for quite some time that we have issues throughout the county with drainage. And because we didn't have engineering in place many years ago when a lot of these subdivisions were put in, or any oversight. So to me, a grant from the state and a study to make us aware of what the issues are, and then we start as a group try to address those issues. But far as the public getting involved in an engineering service that's a grant to give us a study that's much needed, I don't want to complicate this thing because it's dire need, and those type things should be picked up by the contractor. And you see what I'm saying? If we try to tell the engineering services,
We won't get nowhere.
I
We'll
think
create chaos.
and we can address all the issues at a public hearing when we decide what we're going to do with the information we've received. That's just my comment.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Go ahead.
in reference to Councilman Cook, a lot of the problems that exist on the roads, the Public Works Director does that daily. He's aware. Anytime we get a call, we tend to try to meet with the homeowners. A lot of the drainage you alluding to, based upon construction on sites, every site is not designed to build a house. There have been properties sold throughout this county wherein water's gonna run downhill. We've gone out and investigated anytime we get a call or a complaint or concern. I understand what you are saying. The engineer is very much aware of the concerns, whether it's in SLV, whether it's in MODOC or throughout this county. They are aware it's a countywide drainage study. input has been gathered even from SLV, the Public Works Director and your community relation service person out there. They are in constant contact. So if it's something that's being caused by the county, if it's water running and something is in the right of way, if it's a county problem, we can rectify that. We've done that before, and we still do that. So if you got other concerns outside of the scope of the grant funding, then just bring it to the Public Works Director attention. We'll look into it and see. But a lot of the concerns you have are based on private property. I can assure you that.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Cook.
the only comment that I would have on that is we have approximately 120 miles of county roads for which the Public Works Department is responsible. But in the county, we have a total of over 1,200 miles of roads. And it's kind of a complicated process to determine at times the overlap between county responsibility and the state DOT responsibilities. Now, I know this contract only covers that 120 miles of county roads, but I think it would be important, rather than totally relying on the contractor and the Public Works Department to identify those particular areas of need, that if we at least ask the stakeholders before those reviews are done where their problem areas are. Because if you simply go out and review the right-of-ways and the roads and the drainage ditches, when it's dry, you may not have a good picture of what it's like when we have a torrential downpour. The residents know that, some of the developers know that, and I think we should simply ask them where your problems are so that we can direct the contractor to take a particularly close look at those particular problem areas, and I don't think that's asking for too much.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor? All by the right hand? Thank you. Item number 5. Council to authorize signing an addendum to their participation resolution to people which allow council of participation counties and municipalities to exercise a one-time verbal option to exclude their council member from the definition of employee. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second.
The motion is second. Ms. Stevens, you want to kind of educate?
Just briefly, people, they are asking for an addendum. There are some counties probably elect not to allow their council members to participate in the insurance. If you still want to participate, you have to do what is called an addendum. Each council member, my understanding, Crystal, is that not true? That they're supposed to sign off on it saying that you want to continue the coverage. And if you don't want the coverage, then you don't have to do the addendum. But we just recently found out that we need to go ahead and move forward with this information immediately. Crystal, you were getting ready to say something?
Yes, sir. They have to decide if they want to stay as
Right.
an employee or if not. If they choose not to, then they cannot change that later on.
Right. It'll be for what you decide.
It's my understanding, though, that this would be a resolution of council, that if it was passed, it would apply to all council members, not
Yes.
individuals. You can't select and choose.
Right.
So the question would be, and I'm not sure what the situation is now, does everybody have insurance coverage?
Some of them have county insurance.
I don't know who has the coverage or not as far as this council, but they are offered the coverage.
The vote would be whether to, there's 2 boxes to check out. Members of council will be considered active employees for the purpose of participation in the state insurance program, meaning that all of you would get state insurance, or members of council will not be considered. So that would be the vote, whether you want to be considered or not be considered employees for purposes of qualifying for insurance.
You know, it's a cost to the county
But when you, not extra, just whenever the premium go up,
That individual, I'm saying, it still ain't no cost.
it's still under the county's plan.
Yeah, so there ain't no cost.
Not to do the addendum, it's not extra to do the addendum. It just, you all just gotta make a choice whether you wanna continue to be allowed to be insured under the state health or not. That's basically what it's saying. Now, we don't control the cost of premium. They do pass things on to us as the year go on.
Are we now, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, are we currently now set up to be employees? And
Yes,
people
you
have the
are.
option to do that?
You do, you have the option.
That is correct.
But everybody don't like to participate. But council need to say, yes, we want to, or we don't. That's basically what it boils down to.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Cook.
since this is an irrevocable declination, once you decide that you're not going to cover council members as employees, making them eligible for health insurance, then that is a forever declination. You can't ever cover them. Now, under the circumstances, a lot of the council members, I know myself included, and probably several others, have insurance, health insurance policies that we carry over from our prior employees. So we decline as an individual council member to be covered by health insurance. But I think to make a blanket declination for all future council employees or council members not to be considered employees and not to be eligible for that insurance, I think is doing a disservice to them. And so I am opposed to passing a resolution that provides an irrevocable declination that would prevent and prohibit any future council member from taking that insurance option.
And Mr. Chair, it's just an option. It leaves it open for any council member who would like to apply for the insurance to apply for it. Is that correct?
That's the way I understood. Because that's what we're doing at the present. Anyone that want to, they can do it. Have insurance with the state.
But if you do an irrevocable, an irrevocable option, then no council member in the
Ever
future
going
can
forward
ever be
can.
included as an employee and eligible for insurance.
Right.
In the future, there could be younger
Yeah.
People
folks
get
that
on
would
council
want
who need
insurance.
Exactly,
Don't have them for it.
exactly.
Yes.
I don't support it.
Period of coverage in the state insurance. It applies to everybody. All council members. The vote would apply to
Miss-
all council members, but it applies for, it's irrevocable, and it applies for the duration of the county's period of coverage in the state insurance benefits program, which I'm assuming is a year. I'm not sure, and I'm sure what the definition of that is. We might need to get some explanation.
Now, was it, do we need to postpone this and?
No.
Because they eligible.
It's real,
From here on out.
Mr. Chairman, this is really
As long
straightforward.
as the county is
So
a
with that-
member of this, that's from here on out.
Right.
I don't want to deny anyone, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, y'all just have to decide which motion you want to go with. And
And
Up
we-
or down?
We,
with
we,
insurance, not.
we'll do a follow-up for clarification. I think nothing really changes other than you all still saying you want to be employees or eligible to participate.
Right.
It doesn't mean that, and
That you have
and
to.
we'll double check. It's not saying it's mandatory for all council members to participate in order to receive.
It says that on the thing that Crystal
It's
sent us.
saying that if you say you want to still be treated as employees, you send in your addendum, that means anybody come in 5 years from now, 2 years from now, they still eligible to participate in the county's insurance.
All
If
we
they
gotta do is
choose
just
to.
vote yes.
It's their
That take
choice,
care.
right? You just got to vote it up and down whether you want to participate as
We vote
employees.
yes, that take care of it.
Right.
Right. I call for the vote. All in favor? Everybody right hand.
We need a motion
Point of order.
first.
So what they-
Right.
All in favor of remaining active
Active.
employees?
Yes.
Right.
If that is a motion,
Yes.
okay.
First and second, yeah.
We make a motion that we remain active employees.
All in favor? All right.
We need a second. Who seconded?
It was seconded, yeah, we were doing discussion.
We were discussing, the motion already was
You got me
made.
confused.
You made the
All
motion.
this talk. I thought I did.
Yeah, so it already was.
We did a first
We
and
did a
second,
first and second,
Yeah.
she said.
but I don't know what we're
I don't
doing.
remember.
Who was the second? man?
Okay, now we,
Who was second?
Who seconded the
Me,
motion?
me.
Candy.
okay.
You say so.
So how did we vote?
All in favor?
To continue as we are, Mr.
Yeah, we
Y'all
said-
just,
Chairman Hamby.
you
Just don't cut out my Medicare, I'll be all right.
just get them to sign, we will finish it.
Yeah, y'all have to sign off.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I'll be hurt.
All right. Item number 6. Council to consider authorizing administrator to negotiate fees and accommodation with Satterfield Construction Company to hold event at the WS Mill Activity Center. Get a motion.
So moved.
Get a second.
I'll do a second, but we need to discuss what's going on.
Oh, yeah, well, we always call for a discussion. So, it been
I
motion
give you a
and second.
second, we need to talk about it.
All right,
Motion
let's
is
talk
second.
about it then.
Yeah,
But
but,
Stephen did get a,
yeah, if you want to give us an update
Yeah, he
first, what's
get the-
going on.
What has been happening, Satterfield does a banquet each year. Last year, they held the banquet at Piedmont Tech. They serve individuals in the Augusta area. They know that the county possibly will have space to rent out to them in the future. So December 13th, they're requesting to utilize our facility, and also in January. So we're in the process for next month. We will be submitting to you all a fee structure in terms of how much it costs for classroom rentals, how much it costs for nonprofit. The recreation director, he has a comparison about 8 to 9 different entities that actually rent out facilities similar to what we're doing. So basically what we're trying to find out is if the facility is going to be available, we want to be in position to help generate revenues in the future. What I'm asking you all, I've gotten 2 phone calls from Ms. Omander for Satterfield. They just trying to see, is it possible for them to do the banquet? And we'll be set up in such a way, just to make you aware, when the facility is completed, we'll have the throw covering to go down on the floors, all of that. We'll have banquet tables to set it up. It's just another method to generate revenue. They just happen to be the first one to request. Same thing if you was gonna do family reunions, any kind of reunion, birthdays, or what have you. We just gonna have a fee structure in place, so the building won't just be open to anybody, just come in and just run around at will. So I just want permission so you all can understand that I'm just trying to find out the dead drop date for us to do the opening and to address December. That's what they're requesting.
Mr. Chair.
yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Stevens. I'm excited that, that we've got someone already interested in that facility. My question, are we just a little bit premature and I definitely want them to come, but without the pay scale in advance, should we approve it?
You're
Not
not
knowing what
authorized.
these fees are gonna be?
You're not authorizing me to go into an agreement at this point. You just letting me negotiate.
But it says negotiate fees.
We're gonna be negotiating after you all approve my fees. I just want to be in position to go talk to them and tell them, county council tonight, they did consider the possibility. Soon as we find out when we're gonna do the ribbon cutting, then we'll come back with a written agreement based upon the fees that the county adopt.
And I'm to understand these fees will be for
It'll
everyone.
be consistent for everyone.
Won't use that
Nonprofit,
facility.
you won't pick and choose who you do
Okay.
the fees. I just want you all to know that we are entertaining ideas right now. Don't want you to think that I'm going out and I'm gonna give fees, a set fee to Satterfield, and it's not so much premature, she just calling and wondering.
Trying to find a
She
place.
wanna know the position of county council. If the facilities are available, would we be willing to allow them to come in once everything is set? That's basically all they're asking.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Cook.
I have the same concern as Mr. Hamby, although I think mine is a little more concerned with the possible conflict of interest that may occur in terms of negotiating with one particular firm with respect to those consistent fees that we're going to apply to everybody. Satterfield Construction is the principal contractor for doing virtually all of the road maintenance and paving contracts in the county. And I think we do need to have consistent fees, and I think council needs to approve those fees. But I would be reluctant to negotiate with simply one party with respect to what those fees should be to cover everybody, particularly when that one company is a major contractor for the county. So I would recommend that we amend this simply to give the administrator the authority to work with anybody, including Satterfield, with respect to the development of a uniform fee schedule for renting the MEMS Center out on a public basis, and then come back to council and we'll approve that. And then if Satterfield wants to come under those conditions, that would be fine. But I think if we have a fee schedule and we are concerned about avoiding any conflict of interest with major contractors in the county, then if a request comes in that varies, provides a discount or whatever to an individual contractor, then I think that should come back to council for approval.
The way you might be addressed is that the administrator be authorized to develop a fee schedule, bring it back to you.
That's what I
That you determine that, and that fee schedule applies
Everybody.
to anybody.
And I think we should.
And I think that's what I hear coming from.
And I would just recommend that we divorce this from
We don't have a
Satterfield.
problem with that.
Yeah, just.
This, it look like this, I think,
The way this was written is misleading.
this ain't no contract with
Amended to authorize the
Satterfield. But he
administrator
written
to
like it,
develop a fee schedule to bring back to council for
It'll
this
be,
approval.
it'll be developed for next meeting, please.
yeah, okay,
We fine.
okay. That's right.
I think-
You don't have to have a name, you just, see, there's, some people interpret it that you setting up a contract with Satterfield, but you're not setting up a
I
contract.
understand.
You said that, them finish.
We'll go change it.
And it would be a fee schedule.
I'm
that
just saying that what got the
published.
confusion is that it looked like we're doing business with Satterfield. If just anyone come, it's gonna be the same.
We'll clear it
Between
up.
now and then.
We'll clear up the
We
lake.
clean it up, okay?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Are we amending this to authorize the administrator to go off and develop a fee schedule for everybody? Or are we deferring this to the next meeting?
Well, you could go ahead and authorize the administrator to
Set up a
develop
fee schedule.
Okay,
It's
then
going
I
to
would,
come back to council.
then I would make a motion to so amend this decision item.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor, nobody right hand. Thank you. Committee report. Councilwoman Brown.
We attended the Association of Counties meetings at the end of July, 1st of August, and I received my second level of, from the Institute of Governments of Councils that was set up there. We go to classes during that time period while we're down there to learn about governance and how to act as county council persons. I don't know what else I did, but that was the biggest thing I did. And echo whatever Mr. Cook says.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cook.
It was a very busy month, at least the 30 days between meetings. I did attend the SLV Board of Directors meeting, the community forum that was a presentation by the South Carolina Coalition for Lawsuit Reform, and we got a good explanation of some of the legislation that's been introduced to reform the legal process within the state, including the appointment of judges. I attended a community meeting on the status of the U.S. Postal Service's dispute with respect to the use of cluster box units for mail delivery in certain parts of SLV and how we may proceed with that. Attended the McCormick County Election Board meeting, the County Council Executive Committee meeting on the capital project sales tax legal issues, the County Transportation Committee meeting, like Jackie, the South Carolina annual meeting down in the Isle of Palms, which it was a 3-day conference. I thought there were some excellent subjects on the agenda, some excellent courses, and it gave us the opportunity to talk to a number of South Carolina legislators. They had a legislative breakfast. We got to ask questions and talk to them afterwards, and I had the opportunity to talk to the Senate President, Thomas Alexander, about an issue that I've been having discussions with him about for the past year or so, which is on the likely raise in electricity rates, particularly that'll be passed along to co-op customers after the Cook settlement expires at the end of December. And they're still working on that. They don't have a good answer, but there is concern, particularly with respect to the co-ops having to pay off a substantial amount of debt that has been incurred by Santee Cooper. And because the co-ops, I think, buy about 85% of their power from Santee Cooper, and if that debt is going to be passed along to co-op customers, it's going to have a significantly adverse impact, particularly on rural co-ops like Little River Electric Cooperative, because we don't have a lot of heavy industry, and we don't have a lot of big hotels like Horry County to shoulder the burden of that. So that's something that is of great concern, and we had the opportunity to make our views on that known. I also attended the McCormick County Election Board meeting. The county I've covered that. Sorry, I write too small. The McCormick County Planning Commission meeting, a meeting with Mr. Stevens and Mr. Warner and SLV with our developers at SLV with respect to possible amendment of the drawdown schedule for properties from the Forfeited Land Commission, and we'll be discussing the legal implications of that later in this meeting. Attended the Chamber of Commerce breakfast, the special called county council meeting in which we had a public hearing and approved the third and final reading, the capital project sales tax commission proposals. I attended a virtual meeting of the South Carolina Housing Commission's Audit and Finance Committee. There are a lot of funds that are available, particularly pass-through funds from the Office of or the Department of Housing and Urban Development that come through the state, and I think some of those funds may be available to us if we can put together proper proposals to pursue them. Attended the town council meeting, the community forum that was presented last Thursday with respect to the U.S. electrical grid and its security and safety. And I found out a lot of things that I would probably rather not know about the dangers that are involved, but it certainly raises issues that we all need to consider. the Savannah Lakes Village Public Affairs Committee, and last night's legislative delegation meeting, and last night's McCormick County School Board meeting. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mine's very brief and short. I attended a lot of the same meetings that my colleagues have, but definitely not as many as Mr. Cook. But I did do one that he didn't show up at, and that was the public hearing for the rock quarry that's going in Edgefield County. They had their last public hearing, DHEC did. For some may or may not know what's fixing to happen, basically on the south end of the county is 500 acres have been purchased, basically in Edgefield County, but directly on McCormick County line for a rock quarry. And, you know, I listened to the presentations and stuff, and I did not hear McCormick County's, the impact on McCormick County mentioned once. So as a representative of that area, I did challenge them with some questions about the impact. My major concern will be the blasting, which will basically be within very short distance, the way the crow flies, for Lost Wilderness and the Fierce Plantation and possibly the new development there. Of course, they assured me there won't be an impact, but we've heard that many times before. And then the other major concern that I have is the traffic flow on Woodlawn. I don't know how many folks have traveled the road which goes from 28 over to Sportsman's Corner. It's an extremely treacherous road, very dangerous road, very few guardrails, a lot of embankments, and to see several hundred loaded rock trucks on that road, I feel it's going to be an impact on McCormick County. So it'll definitely, our road system and law enforcement on the south end of the county is going to be challenged. They, of course, said they have sent that to DOT to handle. So we'll see how they're going to resolve that long section of roads. But it's basically about probably from the county line to 28, I'm guessing about 2 miles or less. That's from the site to Sportsman's Corner, 7 miles, and I think the whole route's about 9. I see Crystal agreeing with me. So I hate when we have public hearings and there was no one there. Apparently that several people I talked to didn't get the notice, and there was no opposition and 1 or 2 people for it. But that's, I feel, is going to have an impact on our county. I hope economically we see some results from it in the future. I actually talked to the owner of the company, and I told him we had plenty of lake houses to sell because I know he's got lots of money. So that's my report.
Thank you. And they did talk to the TV station. So
Yeah.
so it's been well publicized.
Oh, on that end, yeah.
So, like everyone to say that the conference went well, and that our former governor, Beasley, was the keynote speaker, and
Good stuff.
And Beasley really gave us a lot of information. It's well that we had the opportunity to network with other councilmen and things that they doing in their counties that we making do in McCormick County to help continue to bring jobs and enhance the quality of life. We see the thank you letter from the former executive director of Chamber of Commerce, Vitale. She really thanked McCormick County Council and staff and all what you done for her retirement. She said she'll never forget McCormick County. She really appreciate the frame and also a key to the county. She can always be able to come back to McCormick County at any time because she do have keys, law enforcement. So she come back, y'all can let her come on in from Auburn, Alabama. But Stephen.
No report.
Okay, we have a motion. It's a motion to go in executive session. This is to review and discuss and receive legal advice regarding proposed revision, modification to the agreement with SLB Windfall Group, LLC, concerning FLC properties in SLB.
So move.
Second.
More than second. Any discussion? Not all in favor? Nobody right hand. Thank you. Thank each and every one for coming out to the county council meeting this evening.